The message arrived at exactly 2:17 station time, encrypted with a cipher I had never seen before. Come to my chambers. Alone. Say nothing to anyone.
L.
I stared at the hollow display, convinced it had to be a trap. I was a human cultural liaison stationed aboard the Aurelian Spire, a diplomatic megastructure orbiting the capital world of the Varesh Dominion. Humans were still considered outsiders, useful, tolerated, but never trusted with anything involving royalty. Especially not royalty. And especially not the Varesh royal line. Princess Lyrithi was next in line to rule one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. She was revered, isolated, and surrounded by layers of protocol thicker than the hull plating around us. If anyone discovered she had contacted a human privately, the political fallout would be catastrophic. Which begged the question, why me? I almost deleted the message. Almost. Curiosity, humanity's most dangerous trait. 1. The corridors near the royal wing were silent, illuminated by soft violet light that pulsed with the station's artificial heartbeat. Security drones hovered at fixed intervals, but the message had included a precise route, one that avoided every patrol. That alone told me this wasn't impulsive. Someone had planned it carefully. When I reached her door, it opened before I could announce myself. The chamber beyond was vast but subdued, nothing like the extravagant halls reserved for public appearances. Instead, it felt private, personal. Walls of living crystal shimmered faintly, responding to her presence. Princess Lyrithi stood near the viewport, her back to me. Close the door, she said quietly. I did. Only then did she turn. Up close, it was impossible not to feel the weight of her status. Her skin carried the soft luminescence of the Varesh royal genome, patterns shifting subtly with her emotions. Her eyes, deep silver, studied me with an intensity that made my instincts scream danger. You should not be here, she said. I got that impression. I replied carefully. So why am I? She gestured for me to sit. I remained standing. You are human, she said. Your species has anomalies. That's one word for it. A faint flicker crossed her expression, amusement, maybe. For most of my life, she continued, I have been watched, recorded, evaluated. Every word measured. Every action weighed against tradition. Her voice lowered. There is no space for truth in that world. I said nothing. I asked you here, she said, because you are not part of it. Lyrithi told me her secret slowly, as if testing whether the words would betray her once spoken. The Varesh Dominion was held together by something called the harmonic accord, a psionic resonance shared by the royal line that stabilized governance across star systems. It allowed instant consensus, emotional synchronization, and unity without force. The problem? The accord was failing. I cannot fully access it, she admitted. I never have. I frowned. But the records are lies, she said flatly. Curated illusions. The council fears what happens when a ruler cannot resonate. A ruler without resonance was seen as fractured, unfit, dangerous. If this becomes known, she said, I will be replaced. Quietly. I exhaled slowly. And you think a human can help? I know a human can, she said. She explained that humans possessed a neurological trait the Varesh lacked, adaptive emotional bonding. Where Varesh minds sought harmony through control, human minds found it through connection. You anchor one another, she said. You do not erase difference. You integrate it. I didn't like where this was going. You want me to stabilize you? Yes. That's not something I can just. I am not asking you to fix me, she interrupted. I am asking you to stand with me, to help me think, feel, decide. Without the accord. She met my eyes. I want to know who I am without the crown. That terrified me more than any weapon. The middle of everything began when we were discovered. Not immediately, but suspicion grew. Guards lingered longer. Advisors asked sharper questions. The station's political atmosphere tightened like a held breath. Still, Lyrathi continued to summon me in secret.
Sometimes we talked.
Sometimes we argued. Sometimes we simply sat in silence, watching stars drift past the viewport. She asked about Earth, about how humans chose leaders, about rebellion, about love. You bond without obligation, she said once.
How?
We choose, I replied, and we fail. A lot. She considered that. Failure is forbidden here. Maybe that's the problem. The breakthrough came during a council session I wasn't supposed to attend. Lyrathi froze mid-speech, her resonance flaring wildly. The chamber shook. Advisors panicked. Security shields snapped into place. Without thinking, I stepped forward. I spoke to her, not as a subject, not as a tool, but as a person. Lyrathi, I said, using her name for the first time in public.
Breathe.
You're not alone. The resonance stabilized. The room went silent. Everyone felt it.
Not harmony. Choice.
After that, there was no hiding. The council summoned us both. They accused her of contamination. Me of manipulation. The human is influencing the air, one elder hissed. Yes, Lyrathi said calmly. He is. Outrage followed. I expected exile, execution, something dramatic. Instead, the Queen Mother spoke. What do you want? She asked her daughter. Lyrathi stood taller than I had ever seen her. I want to rule without erasing myself. The council deliberated for days. Systems destabilized. Factions threatened secession. The dominions stood on the edge of collapse. And then Lyrathi made a decision that stunned everyone. She deactivated the harmonic accord. Ending. The galaxy didn't end.
It changed.
Without the accord, the Varesh dominion fractured. But it didn't fall. Worlds argued, disagreed, negotiated. For the first time, they chose unity instead of being bound by it. Lyrathi was crowned not as a harmonic ruler, but as the first sovereign by consent. And me? I was offered titles, positions,
power.
I refused them all. Instead, I remained what I had always been, a human at her side, not above or below her. One evening, long after the chaos settled, we stood in her chambers again, the same room where it had all begun. You could leave, she said. No one would stop you now. I smiled. You asking me to? She hesitated, then shook her head. No, she said softly. I'm choosing you. That was the difference. Not tradition. Not destiny.
Choice.
And in a galaxy ruled for millennia by control, that single human concept changed everything.